Prince Harry's new Netflix documentary has flopped after failing to hit the top 10. Pete, is it true or is it false?
Oh, well, is anybody really surprised? I'm not going to lie. I didn't even know he had one out. And, I basically completed Netflix over COVID. So, it just doesn't surprise me, really. What I find quite sad is I actually thought the Invictus Games and getting involved with veterans was going to be Prince Harry's thing. Do you know what when they air in a spare kind of narrative, that they have to find something to do?
He appears to be just a bit of a waste of time.
No, sadly, I think it's because he met Meghan Markle,
Right.
I'll be honest. And since then, he hasn't stopped whinging and moaning. Look, I was one of the many few that watched this documentary, and it's amazing what he did with the Invictus Games. It started in 2014. As a young lad, you saw him there with all these injured servicemen competing against each other, and it helped their recovery and rehab. But the thing with Harry, he had to spoil it. He had to say he didn't get support from the media, which was total lie yet again, because many of the papers, like The Sun, did help the heroes, and there was, Harry pictured with the actual armband on, which showed the support.
But it's exactly the same as Extinction Rebellion, isn't it? The way they go, we are doing this because we need media attention. You think, how much more media attention do you want? The Invictus Games was undoubtedly a huge success.
Well, it is the best thing he's ever done. And don't forget, he served for our country. He's done amazing things. But the fact is, he can't stop moaning, and he did it yet again, which spoilt this documentary. And that's, I think, why it isn't in the top 10.
Okay.
And no one's really watching.
Okay, so Pete, I think we probably know. But OK, has Prince Harry's new Netflix documentary flopped?
I think it's true.
It's absolutely true!
Hey, I will clap that.
So to Lizzie, people are calling for the Notting Hill Carnival to be banned after 8 people were stabbed and 300 people were arrested. Is it true or is it false?
Well, let me tell you, I know this is true because my friends actually live in Notting Hill, and in their garden at the front, they had people having sex, urinating everywhere.
At the same time?
Yeah, it was incredible. But
how?
It is possible.
This is Notting Hill Carnage. It's not a carnival anymore. And people forget this is a neighbourhood. And my friends who have very lovely houses in Notting Hill, actually, but they're boarded up, and the place is so dangerous.
Yeah,
and they had sexual offences, 308 arrests.
Yeah. What about Pete? The idea from Susan Hall, the Conservative candidate for Mayor of London, to move it to somewhere like Hyde Park and keep it self-contained.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea, but I think it kind of misses the point. Is that we have to ask, why is it this particular London event that has this problem? It's about time, in my opinion, that all these people that put the event together, and all these community leaders, and everybody who's getting all on that moral high horse is now calling just this fact that we're having this conversation racist, need to actually hold their own communities to account and start demanding better from the people that turn up. You can move it any way you like. You're still going to get the same people.
Yeah, but Pete, when you've got 2 million people turning up, how do you hold 300 people to account?
Well, that's the thing. It's not going to. You can't just do it overnight, but you have to start demanding better from the people that go there. You actually have to admit there's a problem. You've got the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, running around social media saying, "Oh, wasn't it wonderful? Look at all the colours and the communities and all the rest of it," while people are literally bleeding in the street. You look like an idiot if you're not even talking about this stuff. And sadly, if all the people that were so outraged use that energy to turn this around, I think I would probably go. I looked at what happened this year. There's no way I'm going to that event.
No.
Absolutely not.
Well done, Pete. Come on, Pete. Pete gets around the floor.
And it's weird that the Mayor of London didn't even mention Notting
But he
Hill,
doesn't mention stabbings,
all the crime, all the drug, all the offences that went on. Didn't even mention it. All he could talk about is
OK, so Lois is one of our resident PR people. Lois, my question is Sadiq Khan's general strategy with all of these things, whether it be the Notting Hill Carnival, whether it be stabbings, whether it be ULEZ, just to sort of deny anything bad's going on?
Yeah, he just ploughs ahead, doesn't he? Like just continues to do, because he knows he's got a block vote.
Yeah.
He's got a block vote of
No, I think he thinks he's got a block vote, but I will tell you something. I think a lot of working class people from the Indian subcontinent, place like Pakistan, actually are sick of him because of ULEZ.
I mean,
well, that will be good. That will be his poll tax.
I mean, let's just look at what the main photo that came out of the event was a guy wielding what's known as a zombie knife. This is a knife that has no other purpose. It was this huge machete-esque thing. That has become the image of Notting Hill Carnival. No matter what anybody says, that is the image advantage of it. And until you change that,
I know. Children are there.
That is such a good
family
point.
event.
This is, I know that they have specific
What
days.
family? The Addams family?
Yeah. Well, there's supposed to be
Addams
like specific events that they have and specific days are supposed to be for families. There is no way I would recommend to anybody to take their kids to that event after what we've seen over the last 2 or 3 years, if not longer.
Chaps, there were calls to ban the Notting Hill Carnival. I just wondered what you thought of that.
I think they should. It's too inappropriate.
Why?
The younger generation, man. It's not good.
Why do you think that?
It's too much. You understand?
Too much violence?
Yeah, man.
Should the Notting Hill Carnival be banned?
No, shouldn't.
Why not?
Because it's an institution.
What do you think of the Notting Hill Carnival?
Fabulous.
Do you think the Notting Hill Carnival should be banned?
Yeah.
Yes.
We should leave it there because it exposes other cultures to another culture. I think that that's important. We all need to be integrated and diverse and inclusive. And so how else will we learn about other cultures unless they actually come to our neighborhood?
Stick that butt out as you go down. You gotta get low, gotta get low. Yeah, there it is, there it is. And slow back up.
What about this move?
Squat. I like
That's
that.
a good squat. That's a good squat, is it? Should I do that again?
Wow, yeah, there we go, there we go. Uh-huh.
Look at that.
Get it down.
Look at that. Look.
Yeah, get down, get down. There you go, yeah.
Oh, I think I've ripped my trousers. I think I've ripped my trousers.
The melting pot is important. Multiculturalism is kind of dangerous unless you accept all of me and I accept all of you and I can appreciate some of the things of your life and learn from those things.
Sounds like you should have gone to the Notting Hill Carnival. I'm actually a bit gutted. I'll tell you what you should do. Next year, come back and I'll invite you.
Yes,
Right. Thank you very much. Good to meet you. Has there been calls to ban the Notting Hill Carnival, Lizzie? Is it true or is it false?
It's true.
It's absolutely true.
Hey!
Okay, question to Lois. Lois.
Yes.
Grant Chaps has been urged to quit OnlyFans over concerns about security. Is it true or is it false?
OnlyFans. Who would pay to see him in his bra and knickers?
You would probably pay.
No,
wouldn't
no,
you?
he's not my cup of tea. Is
No,
he? Right,
no. Do you know, every time I meet Grant Chaps, he goes, your name's Andre. My brother's called Andre. Grant, you've told me that about 8 times.
Yeah, well, I'd pay a fortune not to see him in his bra and knickers, or indeed naked at all.
So just to be clear, why are you assuming that Grant Chaps would appear in bra and knickers?
OnlyFans?
Yeah. No. Most men, as I understand it, who appear on OnlyFans, appear in their male underwear.
Oh, right. Oh, OK. Well, I wouldn't want to see him in male underwear either. Grant Chaps. You've got a call. You've got a call.
That's the phone. Hello? Oh, my God, it's the ghost of Mrs. Thatcher. She says, you Les if you want to, the lady's not... I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. That is a disgrace.
But,
I didn't say that.
just to broaden this out a bit, I mean, Grant Chaps has had quite the week, hasn't he? He's now Defence Secretary. He's had quite the promotion.
What has he got on the powers
See,
that be? Because he is
An
completely
OnlyFans-
unqualified.
What he has got on the powers that be is the list of OnlyFans customers.
Yeah, that's right.
OnlyFans, it's get your chaps out. It's called.
Yeah, but...
Hey,
but
get your schnapps out.
Well, I suppose this is leaning on the fact that he's quite big on things on social media. I know he did have quite a big TikTok account, and I think there was this whole thing about him now being Defence Secretary about whether he should have TikTok, and I think they got it rid of off his government phone and his personal phone and all the rest of it. But I mean, he has really come from nowhere, Grant Chaps. In all honesty, he's seen somehow as a competent pair of hands.
Why has he got that position
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
defence? He's got no experience with
but
defence.
Lizzie-
There's plenty of other people.
Lizzie, let me ask that question to you. Is this a desperate move by Rishi Sunak, who just doesn't have many competent people?
No.
But surely he's got someone more competent than him that have actually served for the forces. I mean, the thing is, why defence? He's got no experience.
Did you see the picture, the video of him with Bill Gates? It was absolutely horrific.
But he's cringeworthy.
But
He's not popular. He's not likeable. It's a bad move from Rishi. It's a desperate move from Rishi. And I'm sorry, for him for defence, I don't understand it.
Lois, can Rishi Sunak win the next election?
I think there's going to be a hung parliament, actually. That's my... Yeah.
Is that because Keir Starmer, when it comes to all the woke agenda, is just so bad?
Yeah, I think Keir Starmer doesn't inspire anybody. He doesn't. Nobody knows what he stands for. People have got a general feeling that the Tories are horrific, but that Labour would be worse. Even traditional Labour voters.
Well,
yeah.
let's be honest. Conservatives aren't real conservatives
No, they're
anymore.
not. No.
You know, the highest tax rate since the Second World War. They need to cut the taxes, get rid of you, Les, and sort this immigration
woke, aren't
crisis
they?
out.
Okay.
Get rid of the European judges.
Well, OK, let me just ask. OK, so has Grant Chaps, Lois, has Grant Chaps been told to get rid of his OnlyFans account for security reasons? Is it true or is it false?
I don't think he'd be on OnlyFans. I don't think he'd have much luck, actually. Although I keep being asked to be on it. Give us this.
Yes, I'm sorry, Grant. I know, I've tried. I've told her. Yeah, I know it's TikTok. not OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen it as well, but I wouldn't worry about it. No one else has. All right, bye. Sorry, that was Grant
false.
Chaps.
False.
It's absolutely false.
Yay!
OK, it's time for the scores with the woke rabbit.
Here we go. It doesn't like me anymore.
I love Sadiq Khan so much because he's really fighting to stop climate change. He's just stopping oil.
What are the scores?
1 point each.
Hey! Okie dokie. Right, Pete.
Yes.
Police are failing to solve 90% of crimes. Is it true or is it false?
See, I think this might be one of those questions where it's only 90% of crimes.
That's always the difficulty with this quiz, isn't it?
No, it really is.
Only 90%?
But no, this is actually quite a damning thing for the government, I have to admit, and for the Conservatives who really need to run quite strong on law and order. It's becoming it's going to be one of the main issues, I think, at the next general election. But it's been pushed quite heavily by the Labour Party, this. I think Yvette Cooper, the Shadow Home Secretary, has been out and about touting these statistics around. But the one thing I would like to point out to Yvette Cooper is that her own party don't exactly have the best record at the moment on law and order either. Let's look at the fact that they voted against multiple bits of legislation to have tougher sentences for child rapists and rapists in general. They voted against deportation flights. They've voted against Rwanda. They are clearly not as strong on law and order as people think they are. But yeah, the government has tried to turn this around. I think it's called the Better on Crime plan or something like that. It's got a ridiculous...
The Better on Crime plan. I've got to be honest, Pete, that sounds like a real winner.
I know, yeah. So Suella Braverman, she's come out and said that the police have to investigate every crime and all the rest of it. But the one thing we do have is a detective shortage in this country. You know, we've got 20,000 more police officers on the beat, but actual people that, you know, are doing the more complex crimes, but are solving things like murders and stuff and rapes and everything, we have a shortage of them.
Is that right?
Lizzie, dare I say the following? Is it time to raise the police retirement age? I mean, this idea that a skilled detective can retire age 55, I just think it creates a huge brain drain. Yeah. And I've got friends of mine, I've got a very good friend of mine who was in the special branch, and then he was a detective, then he retired, and then he became head of security at my old college, Royal Holloway. You know, brilliant guy, but at the end of the day, the taxpayer ended up paying him twice as much because they paid his pension plus his salary, assuming you assume that the college is a public sector body, which it basically is. So, you know, you're getting the same people, but it's also true with people like supply teachers. Most of the supply teachers are just retired teachers who are on a pension.
Yeah. Why retire? I mean, like at my age, I'm going to go on till I'm 90, just going to tell you that.
And how many years is that?
Very funny.
4.
I was waiting for that one. Boom, boom. No, I think I totally agree with you. But also, I don't think policemen should have to go to university. They've got to stop all this, all the paperwork. We need to get the vetting, you know, proper vetting, get quality. You know, policemen, they've had such a bad name with, you know, with the likes of Cousins and so forth. But we need to vet better policemen and make it more of an attractive job.
OK, I don't want to talk about police because Peter Blexley sits here on a regular basis and talks about it.
No, but you can't have the Home Secretary saying we've got to investigate every crime. She hasn't got the
What she needs is more. She needs more Braverman.
How many Home Secretaries have said that? We've got to fight every crime, and it hasn't happened. And I'm sorry, the Mayor of London is putting everything into you, Liz, and air pollution, and not into what's going on the streets.
Okie dokie, right. So have the police... Oh, well, how should we say this, Pete? According to new figures, have the police solved only 90%?
Yeah, it's true.
Failed to solve only 90%.
Failed to solve. It's true.
It's absolutely true!
They don't want to cut that, do they?
Hundreds of university students are being kicked out of their halls of residence to make way for asylum seekers. I hate the way this question is worded, so I'm going to reword it. Hundreds of university students are being kicked out of their rooms to make way for fake asylum seekers.
Yeah, fake.
Well, this is it. This is disgusting, I'm afraid to say. And I really feel sorry for those students that are just about to go back, term's just about to start, and look, they've got nowhere to live. And half of these students, I think it's in Huddersfield where this happened, 168 of them had paid for another year on top, so they're waiting for refunds. And these poor students have nowhere to go. Look, first order of any government is to care for your own people. You have a duty of care. This government doesn't seem to have that.
Lois, why do we prioritise people who are swinging the lead and taking the mick over our own people?
Yeah, it's very strange. I mean, there's lots of conspiracy theories about what's actually going on. I mean, I've been told by some very, very senior people in the military that the people that are coming over are all weapons trained and actually have had either military or paramilitary experience. What's going on? We're bringing an army in, and they work for Serco. Serco will have their own private army.
I will say one thing in defence of the illegal migrants who, by the way, I do not believe are genuine asylum seekers. It's not unusual in the countries that they come from for people to be familiar with weapons. But at the same time, I worked to help out Ukraine, and the refugees that I met were women and children.
Yeah.
I'm yet to see I was about to say I'm yet to see a child come over, but there's all these blokes with big beards going, I'm 12 years old. I'm 12 years old.
I don't know, Basil. Maybe he's 12.
I do think that, we've talked about these stories quite a little bit, and one thing I've noticed is that this has really raised the other side of the stop the boats problem, is that we now have a backlog. The last estimate was about 170,000. I think it's probably significantly more than that. And, we keep saying people like, if we just have these kind of safe passage routes, then the boats would stop and this problem would disappear. That is a fundamental lie. And these stories like this is proving that point, is that what are you doing with these people? And I actually don't necessarily blame this organisation, the landlords of this building, because the government's just got to keep the money tap running. They've got a nice steady income coming into their building. And of course. So from a business perspective, I don't necessarily blame the people who own this building. I think it's some kind of big conglomerate or whatever, because the government is just going to continue to pump money into it. And until
the community,
I don't disagree with that.
What about? And Peter, I know you're not even playing devil's advocate here. You're just pointing out the facts. But what about the parents who sit there and think to themselves, not only have I paid for my child's accommodation, which has not materialised, but I'm also paying for the more expensive deal to put the migrants
by
in.
Their taxes.
And time and time again, we're paying extra. I mean, we have loads of people watching this show and others who will sit there saying, I could not stay in a 4-star hotel for 3 days, let alone 5 months.
Or 1
I know, it's ridiculous. And until we actually have a grown-up conversation about this and people stop flinging insults around, this is all I ever see between politicians.
You're ugly.
You got me ravishing before.
Oh no. Safeguard.
Yes, I know, but in the morning I shall be sober.
But
this is my point, is that the Conservatives don't seem to have a plan to stop this problem. The Labour Party are nowhere to be seen. I think the Lib Dems aren't even relevant.
Keir Starmer said we need to build more homes for the migrants.
I'd like to know where he's getting that.
Are we just going to have open borders? Because let me tell you, there's a hotel near me, which was a beautiful spa hotel, is now full of about 500 military-aged men. The school nearby, very worried. Kids can't walk past her anymore. I mean, what's happening to our hotels, our communities?
What is it all about?
It's not fair. There's no care. There's no duty of care.
I feel, and I've asked you this before, Lizzie, but I suppose I'm going to ask you again. I feel that there's a war on women, because every single thing that I hear now, the end result is women get fewer rights.
What about the care to women? It's frightening.
And if feminists have done this, Lizzie,
in my rural village, feel scared to go out at night. How sad is that?
Yeah. But Lizzie, do you agree? I've been saying for 20 years on TV and radio that actually it's women that have done this to us.
Why?
Because what they've done, and I warned women about this years ago on the BBC. I said, if you make it so we're not different, that we don't need to be looked after, that we're not special, that we don't need to be put on a little bit of a pedestal, yeah, then what will happen is we'll be treated the same, and then what will happen is we'll be treated worse, right? That it will go down. I mean, I didn't foresee the trans stuff, but that's
I hadn't realised.
Rapes against women are going up, and I'm an ambassador of a domestic abuse charity, and it's scary. The statistics.
Okie dokie.
And we really need to do something about it.
Well, what we're going to do is import more people. Anyway, so is it true that university students have been kicked out in favour of fake asylum seekers, allegedly?
Yes, sadly, it's true.
It's absolutely true! Muted.
That was The Woke That Was. Continues after the break. Welcome back to That Was The Woke That Was.
Right, this is one where I don't know whether it's true or false. Trans activists have called Mrs. Doubtfire, the musical, in London, transphobic on the grounds it's offensive to trans pensioners.
If you stop depicting different sectors of society on the basis that it's inappropriate to do so, what you actually do is you alienate them. So if you don't have dwarves because it's offensive in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, then they don't get a job. If you don't have people, if you don't depict people that are trans or dressing up as women, then again, you're alienating them. If it's culturally inappropriate to have, like I watched Cool Runnings with my daughter last night.
I love that film.
Oh my God, she loved it. We've watched it over and over. She loves it. But I was thinking, would they make that film now? No. But why not?
Yeah, no, I agree.
So yeah.
Well, they'd have like a white guy and one person who was disabled.
Yeah, no, they would. Or,
Jamaica has a peg leg team.
Or dwarf. But no, I mean, because a lot of the humour comes from the fact, for example, at the beginning of the film, they can't bear that it's so cold. Would that be seen as racist?
Yeah, probably.
But what's going to happen in pantomime? Does that mean Christopher Biggins is out of a job?
Yeah,
absolutely. Are they not allowed to dress
I love
women anymore?
This is literally the point I was just about to make.
How far? It's a slippery slope.
Just about to bring this up because I've seen a lot of people now keep making the comparison between pantomime drag and drag acts,
no, it's very different. Drag
and it is very, very different.
Adult.
And these people keep saying, "Oh, if you have a problem with trans stuff, then why do you like drag?" It doesn't make any sense. They're two different things.
It's Biggins.
Oh my God! Yes, I think he will, Pete. It's the Octagon Theatre in Bolton. They're saying they're doing a what is it? Cinderella. They're saying, can you be widow twanky? How much? Double it and add a zero. Yeah. All right. Well done, Pete.
Thanks. Finally got a booking from the show.
Got a proper job
I know, yeah,
Come on, Pete. Do your widow twanky.
I don't know what that means.
I'll show you later.
I played widow twanky in the Royal Holloway Rag Panto, but I didn't like she was from Wigan.
Yeah.
I'm going, I think that's a disgrace. Come on, Cinderella.
You've been a pantomime drag.
Damn right.
Oh, bless you. That's brilliant.
How is that hard to believe?
I mean, just to go back to the more serious point I was making, if you go back and read, I think it's Christopher Irving, I think is his name, the guy who wrote Farewell to Berlin that Cabaret is based on. He writes in this book about how the original kind of drag performers used to get up on the stage. Is that his name? I don't think that's his name. But anyway, and he gets up on the stage, and they get up on the stage. At the end of the show, they wipe off the makeup. They show that it's an act.
Yeah.
The problem we now have is that there's this kind of melting of gender ideology and trans stuff and all the drag stuff, and it's totally different. And people are just ignoring that.
My favourite one, Pete, there was that very serious, I thought relatively sensible comment from the Green Party, for once, where when Sir Everard was murdered, there was a suggestion that women shouldn't go out of their house. Now, I thought it was a disgraceful thing for the Metropolitan Police to say, and the Green Party said, well, we think it should be men that shouldn't be allowed out the house, which I thought, whilst they were being facetious, was a sensible comment. But of course, That's ridiculous when you're coming from a party where you can self-define.
Yeah,
because all you do is just go, I'm a woman.
I think you're giving them a little bit more credit than them being facetious. I think some of them genuinely meant it, and I do remember this comment.
Although I
being made,
do think that was a disgrace. We should have turned around and said, and I think David Cameron forced the Met to do this during the riots. Get your detectives uniformed up and get them on the bloody street.
I've got an exclusive about the Green Party, actually. So I have an organisation.
They stink. I bet that flatulence is absolute dirt at their annual dinners. Oh dear.
Yeah, exactly. I have an organisation called Car 26, and we have stands at like political conferences and stuff like that. And we asked the Green Party if we could have a stand, and they said yes. They said we welcome debate. We do this. You know, we're very open and this, that, and the other. So I'd organised loads of physicists, scientists to come down because I knew that there was going to be loads of people challenging what we were saying, and it was all organised and everything. We had a call the other day. Some of the other people are not happy about you coming, so unfortunately we're going to have to refund your money.
No. So they didn't turn up.
So what's
they
a
said
surprise?
That we couldn't have a
What's a
stand
surprise
there.
that Car 26 was banned from the...
No, but they said yes, first of all. We organised the whole thing, so
I think that might have been the office intern.
No.
Anyway, let's get back to Mrs. Doubtfire. So, OK.
Yes.
Have trans activists called for Mrs. Doubtfire, the London musical, to be cancelled, claiming it's offensive to trans pensioners?
No.
OK, before I give you the answer, let me tell you that they did call for it to be banned when it was in America.
Oh.
But so far, they have not called for it to be banned in London.
Oh.
So it's false!
So I got it right. Excellent.
I will tell you, there was some debate about that question.
Well, whatever happens in America comes over here.
Well,
Transatlantic.
I think it's going to be one of those. I think it's going to be one of those questions that's going to become true in a few weeks.
I think
But anyway. So what are the scores, Woke Wabbit? So Woke Wabbit, do you think that Mrs. Doubtfire is transphobic?
Oh, obviously. If you have to do sort of dressing up to see your kids and all that stuff. I mean, it's just cultural appropriation as well, probably.
Cultural appropriation of dressing up as a woman to see your kids?
Yes.
It's hard to know how that works, but we haven't got time. So what are the scores?
Yeah, what are the scores?
12 points for everyone.
Yay! OK. Extinction Rebellion activist Emma Thompson is in trouble because she's been seen partying on a £200 million super yacht in Venice. Is it true or is it false?
Well, is anybody surprised? I mean, it's not the first time she's been called a hypocrite, isn't it? And I think this is the reality of it now when it comes to these celebrities getting involved in all these kind of causes and all the rest of it. Is they just don't really believe it. You know, their actions and their words are two different things. I think this country is quite a forgiving country on a lot of stuff. But I tell you right now, if you're a hypocrite, you are finished. And I tell you right now, if I was Extinction Rebellion, I'd just drop all these celebrities because they're not helping you. I know we've seen it with Prince Harris in the Invictus Games, you know, and all the rest of it. And they're just more of a liability.
I read an article, Pete, in the New Yorker. I think it was in the New Yorker.
Ooh, fancy.
And what they said was, perhaps hypocrisy now is something that's important for celebrities because it imbues the idea that they are better than us.
Yeah.
So the idea is Meghan Markle can talk about climate change whilst flying on a private jet. Emma Thompson can take a first-class BA flight to a protest about climate change because she's Emma Thompson and you're Pete Barnes.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think there is. Oh, no, yeah. An abuse this show.
Wrong with
But
Pete Barnes.
no, I do think there is something to that. But I actually thought we were moving away from celebrity opinion, particularly after COVID, because does no one remember that when they all sat around and sang Imagine, and and all these people in their multi-million-pound houses saying how terrible their life was because they had to sit at home and make sourdough bread while people were barely clinging onto their jobs.
I thought it was true what Ricky Gervais said when he said, you guys don't know anything about anything. Most of you spent less time at school than Greta Thunberg. And it was a joke. Yeah. But in truth, many of these people actually have no formal education whatsoever. Now, I'm not going on.
I reckon they're paid off.
I'm not going on about experts being vital because I don't think that's the right way to look at it in the democracy. But actually, your average bloke on the street is going to know a lot more about real life than Emma Thompson.
Yeah, it does. But it comes to this big thing that a lot of these people don't have. It's called self-awareness. You know, I think there is a chronic shortage of self-awareness in this country, and it's mainly those people that are coming out and preaching like they're holier than thou, and they are nothing but hypocrites, and they just don't realise it. And I find it quite funny.
I think they do.
I don't think they do, because the number of people I keep hearing saying you need to check your privilege when they have the self-awareness of a grapefruit is absolutely hilarious.
So, just to be clear, Pete, grapefruit self-awareness. Right, just run me through. Actually, we don't have time.
But no, we.
Oh no.
2 for £1, you grapefruits. 2 for £1.
Hey, I'll take 2 for £1.
No, that's not going to work. Wigan Market's been knocked down.
Many of those to the pound, love.
We don't have grapefruit in Wigan.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I remember my grandmother when we went to Greece together. She was an old Greek lady, and she walked into the house, and my aunt said to me, "Andrea, your nana has got 2 lovely melons for you to taste." Oh, she had brought 2 melons.
You don't look Greek, but then I don't look black or Jewish.
I can't believe it.
We're not going on about your black and Jewish relatives. We've heard it. What is that? What, phone the press? Lois is part Jewish.
And black.
And I'm Irish.
Oh. Are you? My sister looks mixed.
Yes, we all know that Lois has got a black half-brother. Yes, we've heard it. Yeah, I know she goes on about it all the time. Well, of course it's to make her image look less right-wing. Everyone knows that. Okay, so has Emma Thompson been branded a hypocrite?
Yes, she has.
It's absolutely true!
That was The Woke That Was. Continues after the break. Welcome back to That Was The Woke That Was.
This week, Sadiq Khan introduced his ULEZ charge, which means that certain cars are going to have to pay to come right across London. I've been out and about asking people what they think of this new tax. Excuse me, what do you think of the ULEZ charge?
The what?
The ULEZ charge.
What's that?
I can see you've got your congestion charging thing in there.
That, yeah, I'm not from London, I'm from Wales.
Show me that. Show me that. What, so you've got in trouble already?
Yes.
You've been fined already?
I have.
Bloody hell. All right.
Thank you.
Got an opinion on ULEZ? ULEZ charge? No. Chicken cottage van.
I've seen you on TalkTV.
On what?
The woke that was.
Can't even remember the name. Can't even remember the name. What do you think of Sadiq Khan?
Oh my God, he's awful. He
Is
needs
it-
to go.
Where does he need to go?
I don't know, anywhere. Down the toilet.
Do you think Sadiq Khan's attacking working class people?
There's a few words I'd like to say about him, but he's a f***ing useless
What do you think of Sadiq Khan?
I think he's a
Why?
because of what he's just done, the ULEZ.
But surely you shouldn't mind the ULEZ because taxis are exempt, aren't they?
Doesn't make no difference. I'm thinking of other people.
Oh my God, I've seen your game show on the TV.
No, sorry, but
No,
I'm
don't
not
say-
a driver either.
You talk like that, don't
I'm
you?
hungover today.
Right. What do you think of the ULEZ charge?
Good.
Is it good?
Nice.
Whoa! I'll race you! I'll race you!
I've seen you on TV.
Hey! What's your name, pal?
Timmy.
Okay, Timmy, listen, what do you think of the ULEZ charge?
Well, I really do not know what is really going on, but I think I really don't know what is going on.
It's the reason you like me, because you don't know what's going on. Do you think it's hard now to be an ordinary working person in London?
Definitely.
Why?
Oh, because everything is becoming expensive now and salary is not increasing.
Look, get involved. Look, sit with me. Okay, hello. So you're currently on TalkTV. Do not swear. What's her name?
Julie. I'll let Julie speak for herself.
Go on, Julie.
I'm Julie Brown. Hello.
Excuse me, sir. What do you think of the ULEZ charge?
I don't know, not speaking English.
Okay, what language are you going to pretend you can speak?
Romania.
Face a play, da numa numaye, numa numaye, numa numa numaye, chi puntao, chi dragostati day. Ma ame, oki te. Hey, well done, well done. Okay, so the next question is to Lois. The Body Shop has removed its men's section from its shops after complaints from staff who wanted it to be more gender neutral. Is it true or is it false, Lois?
Oh, good God. Well, Anita Roddick was like the original woke, wasn't she? Bless her, the late Anita Roddick. I used to love the Body Shop. This shows you how uncool I am. I thought it was the absolute height of sophistication when I was about 10 years old.
At one time, it was groundbreaking, wasn't
Yeah, when 1991, I was 10, and I just thought, oh my God, the Body Shop. Yeah, this does sound true to me. Unfortunately, young people are as mad as a box of frogs. I mean, not all of them, but I can believe that. Yeah.
Pete, I just wonder whether men getting into personal grooming and whatever is actually a bad thing, because I think that women get a lot of hassle having to look pretty and whatever, and now men are doing it as well. I don't know whether it's a good thing.
I'm not sure on that, because there are certain brands now that market specifically to men. I know there's a makeup brand, I think it's called War Paint. You know, they've tried to butch it up.
I saw that.
I wonder.
Like that.
Pete's going, there is a brand.
I mean, the irony of us two talking about it, where I've got about 9 inches of makeup on my face.
It's not straight men, is it?
No, it's basically for everyone.
Yes, he said 9 inches of makeup. 9 inches of makeup. Goodness me, filthy mind.
But in all seriousness, I was genuinely surprised to hear the Body Shop was still going. Like, I just thought it'd been another victim of the high street.
The one thing about the Body Shop, and I've got to complain about this, there's an organisation called 38 Degrees. I beg you not to engage with them. What they do, every time there's a political campaign, they deluge Parliament with emails. We used to get something like, per campaign, maybe 1,500 individual emails going, will you sort this, will you sort that? Yeah. And we had to reply to them by hand. They used to cripple Parliament. And then there was one day, there was a big vote where they got all of their members to phone the switchboard, and they jammed the switchboard for a day. And the reason I mention this is because it's the memorial to Anita Roddick.
Oh, is it really?
Oh, right.
But,
who was an amazing woman.
I was going to say, just really quickly, on this one, the one of the things that strikes me about this is it's staff at the Body Shop that have complained about this. So it's actually the people that work for the Body Shop that have actually said, "Oh, we don't think it's right."
You know what I do with my staff when they complain? Shut up! Shut up! I'll use that to correct you.
I just make up stuff just so you.
Yes, it's HR.
Finally.
I love it. Don't worry.
I will say that. So legal and HR have asked me to point out that corporal punishment is not something that is approved of by TalkTV or indeed Talk Radio. and there is no item in the building called the corrector that I use on staff.
Oh, what a shame.
Comma anymore.
Anyway. No, I'm just going to say, have you not noticed that there has been a growing trend of people that work for companies suddenly thinking that they could dictate what a company should and shouldn't do?
Yes, I know. Where do they get off?
But the Body Shop usually come out smelling of roses just because of their pots and pans.
I actually can't go into a Body Shop because I swear to God, I can't breathe in them.
But I remember there was there was that lady who carried the sword. What's her name?
Penny Mordaunt.
They turned around to her and they said, right, we've decided we're doing gender neutral training. And she was sent to a lesson for testicular care. And she just sat there and thought, well, this is ludicrous. Right, there are differences between men and women. I mean, I don't want to smell floral. I want to smell muscular.
I know, but look, we've just had Alice Cooper, who's just been cancelled from being the advert for a makeup brand, and because he talked saying he didn't believe in trans.
It's ridiculous.
It's
and it's Jane Murphy as well.
Let kids be kids. Don't confuse them. And he's just been cancelled.
No, absolutely.
So it's getting crazy.
Have the Body Shop been forced to remove their men's section after pressure from staff who wanted the shop to be gender neutral? Is it true or is it false?
It's true.
It's absolutely true!
That was The Woke That Was. Continues after the break. Welcome back to That Was The Woke That Was.
Today is one of the hottest days of the year, and TalkTV have idiotically sent me out on the streets of London to talk to people and find out all about climate change and how they're dealing with the hot weather. This is going to be brutal. I want to know whether you are worried about climate change and this hot weather.
Not at all, sir.
And what are you doing to deal with the hot weather?
I'm just wearing less clothing and keeping a bottle of water in my bag. It's very simple stuff.
What are you doing to mitigate the heat? I can see you stretching out.
I'm in a short and T-shirts. I'm drinking plenty of water. And I'm not worried about the overall effects of climate change. So I've got no children and I'll be dead within 20 years.
So you're at the door of Bridget Jones's house. Are you worried about climate change?
Of course, we're all boiling over. I'm Ginger, I'm going to burn in this heat. I'm not going to live well.
Excuse me, I'm making a show about climate change. Are you worried about climate change?
No.
Are you worried? No, they're not worried about climate change. They're not worried about climate change. I don't think they were that keen to chat. Let's chat to some people this way. Now, I noticed there's a weather tattoo there.
Yeah.
Mind you, you've got Betty Boo as well.
Climate's been changing for how many billion years is it? And all this hysteria about a subtle heat wave, we've got some kind of emergency, it's man-made. Absolute nonsense. You know, we produce 1% of the CO2 in this country, and we're all buttoning down. CO2's only a tiny part of it.
What is the craziest idea anybody's given you to stay cool in the hot weather?
Like,
would you put your head in the fridge to stay cool?
sometimes I do.
The ice cream man said he'd put his head in the freezer.
As you see, I'm wearing shorts, terrifying the neighbours with my lolly legs. And,
your legs are okay, actually.
Oh, great.
No, I think, but you don't hold the political views I would have expected from a man who wears sandals.
Yeah.
Are you concerned about the current hot weather and climate change?
Yes, I am concerned about the current hot weather and climate change.
Today is a beautiful day. You're having a nice beer in the sun. I think this is absolutely fabulous, and yet everybody believes they're going to die.
Yeah.
Nobody believes they're going to die.
Are you worried you're going to die from climate change?
Yes.
When will you die?
Yeah.
We know nothing about the climate per se. Top professors will say this, and we're pretending we do, and we want to spend trillions trying to save the planet. Climate change is a bit like the human mind. We still don't know much about that, despite Freud and Jung.
You were on the show last week, and we don't know each other. We've just walked up to you.
That's right, correct.
OK, well, look, are you worried about climate change?
Who isn't? Who isn't?
Me. What would you say to me if I said to you that the reason the Ice Age was defrosted was global warming and Neanderthal man didn't have a 3-litre Volvo? Neanderthal man didn't have a 3-litre Volvo. They've struggled to explain that.
Very good point. Kevin, over to you. We were just talking.
They don't make a 3-litre Volvo.
There were no 2.5-litre Volvos then? There weren't.
Point taken.
I've seen kids running around the streets, and I believe it's child abuse, by the way, running around the streets going, "You'll die of old age, we'll die of climate change."
Thank Greta Thunberg for that hysterical, economically illiterate Swedish teenager.
I mean, you've got people like Bono, who's always mouthing off about the climate and all that. As soon as they get off the mic telling us what to do, they're in their big Jags. And
do you believe that Greta Thunberg was right to go by yacht to America and fly her staff out on first-class planes?
No, complete contradiction in terms, isn't it? Let's figure, it's like the Davos crew. They all fly out in their chartered jets, you know, the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab and his bunch of dodgy compatriots.
I wasn't expecting him to say compatriots, if I'm being totally honest. It's the reason you've not had children, because you're worried about it.
No, it's because I ain't had a proper sex life.
And why do you think you haven't had a proper sex life?
Because I'm an ugly
The police are investigating Chris Packham after he was filmed sniffing a baby bird during a segment on The One Show.
What?
I don't know what.
Don't ask me this.
I don't know what to tell you, Lois, but it is your question. So, do you believe that Chris Packham is a bird sniffer?
No, I don't actually. I don't think he sniffs birds at all. But I was supposed to be on Channel 5 News with him 2 weeks ago, and he pulled out when he knew that I was coming on. He said, "I'm not going on with her." So
why? Do they just don't like you?
He didn't want to sniff me.
What sort of birds?
He's in the minority, I must say.
He likes blue tits.
Can I just say, I've had many men try and sniff my great tits.
Hey!
Sorry, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
I actually know quite a bit about this one because I actually.
What about tits? I don't think so.
I know. I'll
tell you.
I always get interrupted.
Yes, I know that Alan Partridge's most recent show was a failure because The One Show is even more ludicrous. of the joke show he made. I'm aware of that. Well, I want to ask a question about Vogue making a trans cyclist their 25th top women. Anyway, we'll go on with the Peckham sniff.
So,
Packham.
All right, okay, so basically what happened is Chris Packham was on the One Show and he decided to smell a baby gosling bird or goshawk. I think it's a goshawk. But the thing is, they are actually protected under law. They're a protected species.
What, from being sniffed?
Yeah. But my favourite thing that he did was he went to social media to defend himself, saying, like, I think we should be more concerned about gamekeepers shooting them in the sky than we should about a naturalist sniffing them. So basically, he just admitted that he did it and that he broke the law.
Sorry,
so it's a
Why is
stupid
it against
thing.
the law to sniff
I think
a
because
bird?
they're a protected species, you're not allowed to interfere with them.
It's like
and that's what they did.
Well, I think I'm going to stop that very, very quickly. I don't think he interfered with it. Did he?
No, you know what you mean. You know what I mean.
That's me. You've been interfering with me.
But you're not. You're actually not allowed to touch swans.
Fragrant.
So,
No, you're not. There's lots of things.
Swans are
Yeah.
the same. You're not allowed to touch swans.
Swans have got a bad attitude.
There is
Never go. I don't trust. Love to.
All swans belong to the king.
See, it's
You know
interesting,
No,
Lois.
that's not true.
that? Oh,
I was going to say, it's interesting, Lois.
Half of them belong to the Worshipful Company of Watermen.
Sorry.
It's interesting. I'll try it for the third time. Look,
You're not going to get this out.
Yeah, I know it's driving him mad. Keep doing that. Yeah, I know.
trying to be sensible. I'm trying to be the
Go
sensible
on,
one here.
Peter, sorry.
But no, it's interesting you bring up the fact that he wouldn't do the interview with you.
I'm aware. Yes. Pete, why don't you just give up?
I know. Yeah. I am. I'm going home.
The problem is nobody is interested in Pete's bird sniffing antics. I'll tell you what you get, Pete. I'm not going to answer the phone, even if it rings. You've got 1 minute to tell us about bird sniffing.
Okay, because there is a question here about the BBC. Because Chris Packham is technically a contractor, it's the Gary Lineker problem again. And because Chris Packham makes very big statements, very politically active statements, and yet he is still an employee of the BBC. Now, he is a contractor, but he's still going out there making these big claims. He's very anti-conservative. He's very anti the current government. And again, it's Tim Davies sitting around allowing this stuff to go on under his watch. And it's an impartiality question as much as it is an environmental question.
The BBC.
Do you know, somebody said to me, why, Andre, are you not getting involved in the Gary Lineker scandal? I said, because the end of it is the Conservative chairman will have to resign.
Yeah.
And people said, but he's got nothing to do with it. I said, I guarantee you that somehow, by some mechanism, it'll be the Conservatives' fault that Gary Lineker made the statement.
Yeah.
OK, but is it true or is it false, Lois, that Chris Packham's in trouble for sniffing birds?
Well, he didn't want to sniff me, but I think it's true.
It's absolutely true! And now time for the final scores with the Woke Rabbit. Oh, what is that? What does Pete smell like?
I can't say it on air, man.
Oh my God, in that case, who is the winner of the competition?
I think Lizzie's won today.
Okay, so congratulations to our winner, Lizzie Cundy. She gets a spare bird to sniff. I'm going down the pet shop to buy it now. Thank you so much to Pete Barnes and to Lois Perry, and of course to the Woke Rabbit. I'm off now to the pub. Au revoir.
Au revoir.